Hello, my name's Carl and this is the Strawbyte workshop. We've come indoors today because it's incredibly windy outside and I couldn't hear myself think in the workshop itself. And this is going to be a very different type of video from me. I'll just be talking to the camera and just explaining what's been happening over the last couple of months. Plus, as a bonus, I'll be answering some of your questions at the end of the video. That's all coming up. So the big news, I guess, is the fact that I've moved house. My workshop has moved into a new space as well. And if you've been following me for a while and you remember the little blue box at the bottom of the garden, that's come with us too. That now sits in the garden here, and over the winter we'll be making that into a clean maker space and home office, and you may well see some of that build back on the channel. So that's really what's been happening. It's not been moving house wasn't a complete surprise. It's been something we've been planning for a while. We thought we'd be moving in September, October time. In fact, we moved in June. And in a way, that was a little unfortunate because having attended Maker Central, I had quite a number of plans for the channel, and most of those have been put on hold. Although you will have seen some content from me over the summer as well. Talking about the channel, of course, the channel has grown from around 300 subscribers back in May to over 500. I think as of today it's around 560 subscribers, and that's just amazing. I've put out 29 videos so far. This will be the 30th or the 31st depending on the scheduling, and I've been really rather taken aback by the response. Not just from people like me that are creating content for YouTube and sharing what they do, but from just ordinary folk that have stumbled across my content, have watched it through and, you know, picked up something of interest from that video, and in particular anybody that's left a comment. Thank you for all of those. They are great to read. I try to reply to all of them if I can, and yeah, this has been great, and I want to do more, and over the next few months we'll be back in the workshop doing projects that may well be more home orientated, given the fact that I've got quite a nice big house now and I need to put some stuff in it. I might as well make it, I suppose. So back in the summer I asked some of my friends from other YouTube channels and some Facebook groups that I'm a member of to ask me some questions, and they were so generous. I've got the questions here. So let's deal with the first question, which is actually a comment left by my first critical commenter, who said, "You're not a professional, you don't know what you're doing, why should I listen to you?" Wow. So he didn't stop at one question. So, you know, I'm not a professional. I do this because I love it. I have a day job. I work for a bank. I earn good money. I enjoy what I do. I've done it for years. This is very much a hobby. I'm coming up for 50 now, and quite frankly, you know, I think, you know, it's the right of every man, isn't it, to have a shed to retire into someday. I've just started a bit earlier, so yeah, for me, this is just something I do because I love doing it. The same with making YouTube videos. I do have a background in engineering, and my father was a cabinet maker and joiner, and I learned so much from him growing up. I'm not asking anybody to specifically listen to what I say. It's not like I've got some sort of agenda that I'm trying to express through a YouTube channel. I enjoy what I do. I hope you enjoy watching what I do. I see this very much as entertainment for makers. That's borrowing a phrase, I think, from the Gospel of the Handyman. And yeah, I mean, it's just me making stuff. So a common question that I get asked is, where did the name Strawbyte come from in your channel name? Right, well, way back in 2007 I started making websites for people, starting with the Strawbyte Water Sports Club near Bedford in the UK. That was my sailing club. Effectively, I went there every weekend. It became something that I did for others as well, so it was sort of a big thing. And the name Strawbyte is actually an anagram of the place name Stewartby, and that's it. So thank you to everybody that's ever asked me that. So Steve Smith from the Steve Maker YouTube channel, he asks, like mine, you have a smallish workshop. What are your biggest frustrations about the size of your workspace? So hands up. Since asking that question, Steve, my workshop is 3 times as big. I'm clearly not the frustrated small workshop maker that I once was. But I would say that actually I've enjoyed all of the workspaces that I've ever had for making in the past. Everything from dining room table in a small flat in Dunstable, where I lived for around 15-16 years, right the way through to that workshop that he's referring to, really, which was 10 by 8 feet, and yeah, was very small. I tell you what, putting wheels on things so that you can move stuff around, that's one way to cure frustrations in a small workshop. But I guess really the biggest compromise, I suppose, really is that, you know, elements of the process of making kind of had to be outsourced. I couldn't mill my own lumber. I couldn't really deal with things that were too big without them first being cut down. So, you know, just being physically smaller, you know, creates some challenges, because some of the things you might want to make are just much bigger. So maybe that's the only frustration that I've ever had. So Richard Bennett asks, how long have you been making YouTube videos? Well, that's a quick answer there. I've been making them for almost exactly 12 months. Although I used to make videos for family and friends on other subjects, or just family videos that I'd put on YouTube, and I've been doing that for quite a number of years, well over 5 or 6 years, I suppose, in sort of the recent era of me having a smartphone, charging about, filming things and sharing that. And what's the secret to getting people to subscribe? You know, you're going to find your own audience, Richard, and I've clearly found mine. There'll be something about what you do that others will like, and I wouldn't really go out your way to necessarily you know, go after subscribers. You have a point of view and an opinion, and you share that in your unique way, and with that, and if you did it consistently over a period of time, you'd start to grab people's attention, and then they would subscribe to your channel. All the best advice I've had from YouTubers, big and small, is just keep going, keep making stuff. You'll figure it out, and I guess you will too. Right, Paul Lockwood, he asks, with still being such a young channel, and as you don't have too many videos, 29, where do you see your channel going for content, for example, woodworking projects? Absolutely. I really want to do more woodworking projects. I want to, you know, show the process of making stuff, and not to be necessarily tied down to making stuff for the workshop, you know, shop jigs, projects, that sort of thing. But, you know, things for the home, things that, you know, have a sort of purpose outside the workshop. But, you know, if I was to look objectively at my viewing stats, and I wanted to grow my channel as quickly as possible, do you know what? Doing tool reviews is probably the single best way of getting subs and view time. There are plenty of eyeballs out there that want to see me unbox a tool from a supermarket and give an opinion on it. And, you know, they're the easiest thing in the world to make, but, you know, I'm not going to go down that road. I will review a tool that I use, that I think is useful, and want to share that opinion. But I'm not going to be going out and buying tools for the sake of it. That doesn't really seem to make any sense to me at all. So, moving on. Andy Pugh asks, what are the next 3 items on your tool wish list? Money and time aside, what would your dream project be? Well, the last question, I guess, really would be to build my own house. I know a lot of people that share the same ambition, that are in this sort of creative making space, and that would be a dream for me. And the next 3 items on my list: planer thicknesser, which I've already bought, a replacement sliding mitre saw, because the one I've got is just massive, and it just, even in a bigger workshop, takes up too much room. My third thing, I really want to kind of get into sort of robotics, right? So either a 3D printer or a CNC, don't care which. I think I can make something interesting with those, and it'll be an interesting learning process for me as well. So yeah, those 3. Jamie Page from JP Woodworks, and obviously the Makers International podcast as well, asks Team Scroll Saw or Team Router. I own a router, I don't own a scroll saw, so that would really have me in Team Router. So Richard Morley, hi, there you go, one of yours. But the truth is, my dad has a scroll saw, and he's made some amazing things with it, and I just love the process of working with a scroll saw. It's on my list of things that I kind of would dearly love to get. I can't think at the moment what I would want to make with it, aside from copying my dad's work, I suppose. But yeah, to be honest, I don't really care. If you're going to flog me a t-shirt, I'll have both. So Christopher Smith from the Woodgineer channel, that's a very good channel by the way, said if you could pick one tool and the rest had to go, what would it be? That's probably the single stupidest question I've been asked, really, because I don't think anybody that deliberately would do with just one tool. I think every tool has its purpose. In just putting up the new workshop, we used a fork, a spade, and in fact actually there are 3 sorts of spade to dig a hole. That thing didn't happen with just one tool. Just have one. Don't know. Hammer. Okay, next, Paul Sharp from Sharpest Workshop. What do you enjoy most about doing YouTube? Very good question. Editing, filming, making, or the community? Well, the simple answer to that, really, I guess, for me, right now, at this moment, the community, I guess. I've met so many people in real life at Maker Central too, that are into making stuff as much as I am, and are in the business of putting that material on YouTube. So I consume those channels, I learn so much from them, they watch my channels. It's just such a fun place to be. There's lots of groups very supportive groups, supporting makers on YouTube, on Facebook, on Instagram, and the whole community thing has been great. But each step in the process, I kind of enjoy as well. Although I do find filming what I make a bit frustrating, and you have to be creative in the edit sometimes. So if you like problem solving, making YouTube videos of what you're making in the workshop is actually quite an interesting way of satisfying that need to solve problems, because you're doing it all the time. Okay, so Rob from New Zealand, he asked a great question as well. What's the ratio of build time to edit time, and does having a camera change anything? Does it rush you? Does it get in the way? Does it inspire you to do a better job? What are your thoughts? Okay, so like I've indicated just in the last question, sometimes filming what you make is frustrating because the filming kind of gets in the way of the making. But I try to see myself as making a video of something being made, and with that mindset I think I've developed a level of patience over the last 29 videos, really, where that seems to be straightforward. I really struggle talking to the camera, and I'm looking at the lens now, and I'm always kind of self-conscious. It's oddly enough, though, when I see it back through the view of the through the window of the editor on my laptop, things feel a little bit better. I don't feel so awkward, and as I said before, you can correct so many mistakes in the edit. And this is just something I'm going to get better at over time, of course. Okay, so another question, where do I live? I think I addressed that early on. Toaster, it's an old Roman town on the A5. That's the road that runs from London to Holyhead. It was a Roman road that connected the Roman Empire from the continent right the way through to the edges of the Roman Empire. So there we go. That's where I live. KSP1278 asked in a comment, I hope you're not intending to move out of your rented property too soon. Too late. Moved. Final question then, really, about the new workshop. How big is my new shop? What do I have any ideas in terms of layout? And what's going to happen with your old workshop? Well, I've kind of covered some of that already, but my new workshop is roughly 3 metres by 6 metres. So that's 18 square metres in total. It's a single car garage. It's got a pitch roof, which has been great because I've put some loft space in there to add some storage. In terms of the layout, I've just put things where they make sense for now, and I'm going to refine that over time. I don't know where that's going to go. I really don't have a workbench as such, and once I've thought about the sort of workbench that I want, I think that's going to dictate how the rest of the space works. And things that are important for me for my new workshop are quietness, so reducing the amount of noise that I make, having good lighting in the workshop, which I think I've addressed, good dust collection, and keeping the thing warm during the winter, because I want this to be a year-round thing. So yeah, so there we go. That's that, and they're all the questions that I had. So if there is anything else that you want to know, please leave a question in the comments, and I may well get round to that in a future video. But for now, from inside my house, because it's too windy to be outside, goodbye, and I'll leave you with some shots of my new workshop. Thank you.